Okay, imagine talking to your car, asking it not just to change the radio station, but to find you a really specific restaurant, maybe French, near a landmark, open late, outdoor seating, and then it actually places the order. Hands-free.
Yeah, or maybe an AI in a call center that doesn't just, read a script, but can figure out and solve a complex customer problem all on its own.
Exactly. That's sort of the cutting edge of conversational AI, and it's the world SoundHound AI that's ticker SOU is really trying to, well, orchestrate.
It's a space that's moving incredibly fast. Understanding the meaning, not just the words, is everything. And SoundHound, well, they've been navigating this for almost 2 decades now. Quite a journey.
Absolutely. And today, we're going deep on their story, their tech, the business side, using insights from the One More Money stock analysis blog. They've got an article called SoundHound, SOUN, the Next Palantir, unlocking a rare AI niche with massive upside.
That title alone suggests there's a pretty significant positioning story there. The Next Palantir. Interesting comparison.
Right. It kind of sets up our mission for this deep dive. Understand how SoundHound went from, like, a music app to this B2B AI player. We want to unpack the unique tech they've built, see where you might actually bump into their AI, and look at the business factors, the growth drivers, and the challenges too.
Basically give you a shortcut to getting up to speed on this company.
Exactly. Get you well-informed quickly.
So let's talk about that evolution. It's a really fascinating pivot they made.
It really is. So SoundHound started way back in 2005 as Melodis Corporation. Most people probably remember the name from the SoundHound app, the Music ID one, that launched around 2009. It built on their earlier Midomi tech.
Ah, yes. The one that could identify humming.
That was the cool part. Even back then, it could understand you just humming or singing a tune. That kind of hinted at a deeper ability to process nuanced audio, not just perfect speech.
That early focus, being able to understand sound beyond just clear words, that seems pretty foundational. But the One More Money stock analysis blog really points to 2015, the launch of Houndify, as the strategic shift.
Yeah, that was the big turn. They moved from mostly being a consumer app company to becoming a platform that lets other businesses put sophisticated voice AI into their own stuff.
And this was built on their core tech, the proprietary stuff, speech to meaning and deep meaning understanding. The blog post makes a big deal about this distinction. It's a single-step process.
Okay, single step. What does that mean compared to, like, the usual way?
Well, traditional systems usually do 2 steps. First, speech to text, then they analyze the text for meaning. SoundHound, they claim, goes straight from the sound waves, the audio, directly to understanding the meaning.
Right, skipping the text middleman. But what's the real benefit of that? Is it just faster?
Speed is definitely part of it, but the analysis highlights accuracy, too. Think about hands-free situations driving, like you said, or a noisy drive-through. Taking out that text step reduces the delay, the latency, and crucially, it minimizes errors that can pop up in that conversion, especially with background noise or complex sounds.
I see. So it makes the interaction quicker, more accurate, especially when things aren't perfectly quiet and clear. More reliable in the real world.
Exactly. It allows for faster, more precise interactions that can grasp more context. Really important for things happening in real time.
Okay, so not just a technical detail, it actually makes the user experience better in those key moments. And this shift, this focus, it seems like it fueled some big milestones for them.
It definitely did. They hit unicorn status, I think back in 2017. They secured major funding, including from NVIDIA, which is interesting. And then they went public on NASDAQ in April 2022 through a SPAC deal. That valued them at, what, $2.1 billion initially?
Yeah, quite a valuation. And even after, some market adjustments and restructuring, they kept attracting money.
That's right. They pulled in another $100 million in financing in April 2023, showing investors still believed in the long-term picture. But maybe the most aggressive moves, the ones getting attention now, are these strategic acquisitions they made in 2023 and 2024.
Let's dig into those because the One More Money stock analysis blog sees them as really crucial for pushing their strategy forward.
Absolutely key. So December 2023, they bought SYNQ3 Restaurant Solutions. That move instantly made them like the biggest voice AI provider for restaurants. Just boom, huge presence.
Instant scale in that specific market. Smart.
Right. Then, fast forward to June 2024, they acquired Allset. That's a restaurant ordering marketplace. So it wasn't just about adding ordering tech. It was about digging deeper into that whole voice commerce ecosystem for food.
Okay, so restaurants, ordering clearly a big focus, building out that vertical. But then the Amelia AI deal seems prodder.
Oh, that was a massive one. The $85 million Amelia acquisition in August 2024, that seriously expanded their reach into totally new critical enterprise areas, finance, insurance, healthcare. The blog post really frames this as powering their big vision, creating powerful AI agents for enterprise.
Got it. So these weren't just random buys. They look like very calculated steps to grab capabilities and market access really fast, pushing them towards what they see as the next big thing in AI, agentic AI.
Precisely. They're not just adding little features here and there. It looks like they're strategically trying to become the go-to for AI solutions that can actually do things autonomously across major industries.
Okay, let's really get under the hood of the tech then. The One More Money Stock Analysis blog really emphasizes this as their edge. We talked about the single-step speech to meaning.
Yeah, that's still the foundation for the speed and accuracy. But handling complexity, that's where it gets even more interesting. That's where their query glue technology comes into play.
Query glue. Okay, what does that actually do? Why does that matter if I'm, talking to my device?
So the blog post describes it as the tech that lets their AI pull together information from different places, different knowledge domains, all within one single complicated request.
Can you give us that example again, the multi-part one from the analysis?
Sure. So imagine asking your voice assistant, find me Italian restaurants near the Coliseum that are open after 9 p.m. tonight, have gluten-free options, and are kid-friendly.
Wow. Okay. That's pulling together location, food type, opening hours, dietary needs, suitability.
Yeah.
Like 5 different things from potentially different databases.
Exactly. Query glue is what stitches together the understanding from all those different parts of your question to give you one useful answer. It's vital for making interactions feel natural, like how people actually ask things rather than just simple commands. It shows a much deeper grasp of what the user actually wants.
Okay, so the basic speech recognition is strong, partly thanks to that single-step thing, and Query Glue lets it handle complex multi-part questions. What about different voices, accents, that kind of thing?
Well, their automatic speech recognition system, the ASR, uses optimized neural networks. They train it on huge amounts of real-world audio data, not just clean lab recordings. That helps it cope with noisy places and different ways people speak. It's also tightly linked with their natural language understanding, their NLU, for better accuracy. And a key point the analysis makes is that it can be customized for specific industries, tuned for jargon and unique terms.
And for global businesses, language support must be huge.
Oh, absolutely critical. Their platform supports 25 popular languages. And importantly, the training data isn't just native speakers. It includes second language speakers and regional accents too. The blog highlights this as a major plus for companies with diverse customers around the world.
How do businesses actually use this tech? Is it all cloud-based?
No, flexibility is a big selling point mentioned. They offer different ways to connect. Fully embedded, like right in a car's hardware, hybrid models, or fully cloud connected. Clients can pick what works best for their needs, thinking about processing power, speed, privacy rules, what they already have set up.
And you mentioned the Houndify platform and collective AI earlier. It sounds like building an ecosystem.
Yeah, Houndify is the developer platform letting partners build on SoundHound's core AI. Collective AI is described as this kind of crowdsourced system. Developers can add capabilities in specific areas, and potentially those improvements help everyone else using the platform. It creates this learning network effect, constantly expanding the AI's knowledge.
Okay, that's the core stack. But AI is changing so fast, especially with generative AI. How's SoundHound playing there?
Right. The One More Money Stock Analysis blog notes they're definitely integrating large language models, LLMs. You see it in their SoundHound Chat AI, for instance. It allows for more, knowledgeable, free-flowing, human-like chats going beyond just fixed responses. The analysis mentions this is getting good traction and significantly helping lower the cost of running these models as LLMs get more efficient.
And this feeds right into their big push on agentic AI. What does that future actually look like, according to them?
This seems to be a core focus, where the blog suggests SoundHound is an early mover, especially with voice-first agents. Agentic AI isn't just about answering questions. These systems are designed to be autonomous. They can figure out goals, make decisions, find the info they need, and actually complete complex tasks with minimal step-by-step guidance from a person.
So not just telling me about the restaurant, but actually booking the table or fixing that IT problem automatically.
Exactly that. The blog post really emphasizes that SoundHound has these agentic capabilities actively deployed in the real world now. This suggests they might be ahead of some competitors who are maybe still in the R&D phase for true voice-first agents that can do things. They mention specific products like Autonomics for IT stuff, the SoundHound Chat AI app for consumers, and the Amelia platform for big enterprise agents.
And the engine draining this next generation is their Polaris model.
Yes, Polaris is described as their big foundational model. It's multimodal, meaning it can handle different types of input, and multilingual. The performance numbers cited in the One More Money stock analysis blog are pretty compelling.
Like what?
Well, on average, up to 4 times faster response times, lower latency compared to their older models, and accuracy gets a big boost too, something like twice the sentence accuracy in noisy places, and a 35% better word error rate. Plus, its maturity across nearly 30 languages is a huge asset for expanding internationally.
Those are pretty striking improvements. What does that performance edge actually mean for them in the market, competing, winning deals?
It means their AI is faster, more reliable, especially when things get messy background noise, different accents. That kind of performance isn't just a nice to have. It's essential for serious business uses like automating customer service or handling complex workflows where mistakes or delays cost real money. The blog suggests this tech advantage could be key to grabbing share in that huge agentic AI market they're targeting.
Okay, let's connect all this deep tech back to you, the listener. Why should you care about all this?
Because it directly shapes how smooth and, frankly, how useful your interactions with AI become. Think faster, more accurate answers. Systems that can understand complex requests naturally. Tech that gets you whether you have an accent or if there's noise around. And eventually, AI agents that can genuinely do stuff for you, autonomously. It's moving beyond just talking at technology to technology truly understanding and helping.
That shift from understanding to doing.
Yeah.
I feel like a big leap. So where might you actually run into SoundHound's AI today? The blog post breaks down several key industries.
Yeah, they've definitely focused on areas with a big need and potential for voice AI. Automotive is a huge one.
Right, the in-car systems we mentioned.
Exactly. For navigation, controlling the car's climate or music, and increasingly voice commerce, buying things right from the car. The One More Money stock analysis blog points out the massive potential here, citing forecasts like a $63 billion market just for voice commerce in vehicles. And safety is a big angle too, right? Keeping hands on the wheel.
Makes sense. And they've landed some major partners there.
Oh yeah. Partners include Hyundai, Alfa Romeo, Citroën, Lancia, Stellantis, across 6 of their brands. Lucid Motors, notably. The blog mentions SoundHound is replacing Amazon Alexa there for better EV-specific understanding, and also TOG. Plus, that tech partnership with NVIDIA integrating with their drive platforms. The analysis does throw in a note of caution, though. The auto industry can be cyclical, which is a risk factor.
Okay, cars are a big slice. What about the restaurant side, building on those acquisitions?
That's their dynamic drive-through and smart ordering solutions. And they've got serious scale there now. We're talking over 13,000 locations. As of late 2024, they'd apparently handled over 100 million customer interactions and were processing over $100 million in annual orders for restaurants. Partners include big U.S. pizza chains, Applebee's, White Castle.
Now, 13,000 locations. That's a tangible scale and a very specific use case. Beyond cars and food, they're also deep into enterprise solutions, right?
Correct. Using that Amelia acquisition power, they're deploying AI agents across a bunch of business sectors.
Like in finance, banks and stuff.
Yep. AI agents for customer interactions, but also helping employees internally in financial services. The blog notes they work with 70% of the top 10 global banks, including helping BNP Paribas automate customer service tasks.
What about healthcare?
Using AI there to help guide patients, maybe through administrative steps or finding information. They mention partners like Duke Health and Wellstar Health System.
And retail, too.
Providing scalable voice AI for big retailers, the kind with lots of locations.
They're also involved in IT operations, AI ops.
Right, that's their Autonomics platform. It uses generative AI to help automate and streamline IT processes, a place where businesses are always looking for efficiencies. It even got recognized as a market leader by ISG Research in 2025, according to the blog.
And helping employees directly.
Yeah, employee assist tools, basically real-time support for staff, maybe helping them with technical questions or procedures quickly.
It sounds like they're really spreading their bets across major industries. The One More Money stock analysis blog specifically called out voice commerce as a key growth engine for them, like a monetization flywheel. What exactly does that mean?
It means they're not just selling the underlying tech license. By actually enabling the transaction through voice linking, ordering, payments, loyalty programs, navigation, all together, they become part of the commerce flow itself.
And is the demand really there for people to order things by voice, like in their car?
According to the stats cited in the blog post, yes, very much so. They mentioned things like nearly 80% of U.S. drivers saying they'd prefer in-car voice ordering to a normal drive-through, and 84% of people who already use pre-order apps saying they would use voice commerce if it were an option. That suggests a lot of pent-up demand.
So how does handling those transactions make money for SoundHound?
Because they're the platform powering these voice-based purchases, they can earn revenue based on the volume or the value of those transactions. That creates the flywheel effect the blog talks about. More people use voice commerce, more transactions happen on SoundHound's platform, which drives more revenue for them, potentially beyond just the initial software fees. It connects their tech directly to economic activity.
Okay, so we've covered the history, the unique tech, where it's being used. Let's shift to the overall business picture now, drawing from the One More Honey stock analysis blog, the growth story, the market context, and, importantly, the challenges.
Well, the market they're in conversational AI, and especially that agentic AI niche, it's huge and growing incredibly fast. The analysis throws out some big numbers. The overall market was maybe $10 to $13 billion in 2023, projected to hit somewhere between, say, $41 billion and over $100 billion by 2030. And the agentic AI part they're really focused on could be $139 billion by 2033.
Those are astronomical numbers. Huge runway if they can capture it.
Massive potential. And the blog argues that SoundHound's specific advantages, that proprietary speech-to-meaning query glue, being early in voice-first agentic AI, especially with the performance of Polaris, these are their key weapons for navigating this crowded space.
But it is crowded, right? They're not the only game in town. They're up against the giants.
Oh, absolutely. The competition is fierce. You've got Amazon, Google, Apple, Microsoft companies with almost unlimited resources, plus other specialized AI players and even companies building their own internal solutions. SoundHound constantly needs to prove its specialized tech offers a real distinct advantage that makes businesses choose them over the others or overdoing it themselves.
Let's look at the financials then. The revenue growth on the top line looks impressive recently.
It really is. The One More Money stock analysis blog highlights some serious acceleration there. Q1 2025 revenue hit $29.1 million. That's up 151% from the year before. For the full year 2024, revenue is $84.7 million, up 85%. Those acquisitions are clearly kicking in and boosting the numbers.
And didn't the blog mention a large backlog?
Yes, a very significant revenue backlog, estimated around $1.2 billion at the end of 2024. That's basically future revenue from contracts they've already signed but haven't delivered or billed for yet. It gives some visibility into future growth potential already locked in.
Okay, $1.2 billion backlog sounds good. But the persistent criticism, which the analysis definitely points out, has been profitability, or lack thereof.
That's the elephant in the room, and the key challenge the blog post emphasizes. Despite the fast revenue growth, SoundHound hasn't been profitable on a standard accounting basis, GAAP profitability. That net income they showed in Q1 2025, for instance, the blog clarifies it wasn't from actually selling more stuff than it cost to make. It was a non-cash accounting gain related to how they valued liabilities from the acquisitions.
And their actual gross margins, the profit on what they sell before overheads, have gone down recently.
They did dip, yeah. The analysis noted gross margin fell from nearly 60% in Q1 2024 down to about 36.5% in Q1 2025. The main reason given is that the businesses they bought, Amelia and SY in Q3, just operate with lower inherent gross margins compared to SoundHound's core software platform business.
So is taking that margin hit just the cost of buying scale and market share quickly?
It certainly looks like a strategic trade-off. Based on the analysis, they seem to be prioritizing getting into new markets and expanding their potential customer base super fast through these acquisitions, even if it means accepting lower margins right now, hoping for bigger long-term growth in those new areas.
And given they're not profitable yet, that valuation seems pretty high.
Yeah. The One More Money stock analysis blog mentions a steep price-to-sales ratio, somewhere in the 31x to 38.6 range. That tells you the market is betting heavily on massive future growth and market share gains, not on current earnings. The blog really stresses that investors need to watch two things very closely. First, how well they integrate those big acquisitions, and second, critically, their progress towards sustainable operational profitability, making money from their actual day-to-day business, not just accounting quirks.
What's management saying about reaching profitability? Do they have a timeline?
Management's guidance, as reported in the blog, projects 2025 revenue between $157 million and $177 million. Importantly, they have guided that they expect to hit positive adjusted EBITDA by the end of 2025. That's a measure of profit before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, and often excludes some one-off items. They're also trying to shift more of their revenue to subscriptions or overtime models, aiming for 90% by 2027, which should theoretically carry higher, more predictable margins in the long run.
Okay, so the picture emerging from the One More Money stock analysis blog is high potential, huge growing markets, unique tech, aggressive expansion through acquisition, but balanced against the very real challenges of current unprofitability and a valuation that demands near-perfect execution.
That sums up the opportunity versus risk pretty well. The upside is being an early leader in agentic AI with differentiated tech and a rapidly growing footprint. The risks are hitting those profitability targets, making the complex acquisitions work smoothly, fending off intense competition, living up to the high valuation, and dealing with potential swings in key industries like automotive.
This has been a really thorough deep dive into SoundHound AI, really leveraging the analysis from the One More Money stock analysis blog.
It definitely gives a comprehensive look at their strategy, their technology, and the business dynamics at play.
So bringing it all back, SoundHound is making a big play to be the conductor, the orchestrator of how we interact with machines, especially using our voices.
They've absolutely positioned themselves as a potential core infrastructure provider for businesses wanting to tap into this next wave of conversational and agentic AI.
Their early work in speech to meaning, combined with that forceful push into voice-first generative and agentic AI, seems absolutely central to that whole vision.
It really is. And that strategic shift to B2B, amplified by those major acquisitions like Amelia and SYNQ3, has fundamentally changed their market reach and diversified the kinds of problems their AI is tackling.
But as the blog consistently highlights, achieving consistent profitability is the hurdle they still need to clear. It's the area under the most scrutiny. Still, you balance that against their unique tech and this clear vision for AI agent enterprise applications. It certainly makes them a company to watch.
Absolutely. The next year or two will be telling, showing how well they can convert that tech potential and market presence into solid, sustainable financial results.
Which leaves us with a provocative thought, kind of posed by the One More Money stock analysis blog's perspective. As voice increasingly becomes a primary way we deal with technology and buy things, will SoundHound's specific approach, that single-step process, the early agentic AI focus, give them the lasting advantage they need to really shape that future and grab a big piece of these massive markets everyone's projecting?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? The tech foundation looks strong, but the execution race is definitely on.
It's a fascinating space, and we'll certainly be keeping an eye on how it unfolds. Disclaimer. This article is for educational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice. Investors should conduct their own due diligence before making any financial decisions. We are not responsible for any investment losses incurred based on the information provided in this article.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We hope this gave you a valuable shortcut to understanding SoundHound AI. If you found this useful, please do subscribe, maybe like this episode, and definitely leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts.